All right, welcome to episode 95 of the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast. I'm your host, Jeremy Powers, and joining me once again, we have our lovely panel of three people now with all of us together. Steven, how you been?
Been doing well.
And then the guy you can't see, whether it's audio or video, Chris.
Hello.
So if you're hearing this in MP3, there's really no difference on the video. Just there's a picture. You get a pretty picture. So, oh man,
I'm with you in spirit.
Yeah,
it's like the thumbnail talks to you.
I'll make a PNG tuber out of that thing one day.
Oh God, I don't even know how I'd put that in the show. I need all new editing software. Anyways, before I get sidetracked again, let's go ahead and jump into what we've been up to. So, Steven, you want to start us off on what you've been playing or what you've been doing?
I've only been playing Pokemon Sleep, if you can play that. I play it in the morning. Pikachu lets me know that I'm healed up.
That's a lie.
It is amusing to see all the different ways they're showing sleeping Pokemon. And it's kind of sad that when you get Cubone, his is weeping sleep.
Oh my God.
And I was like, this is dark. Everybody else was just like, let's see, Charmander was just, he sleeps with his flame next to him to keep warm. I'm like, no, that's cuddly. But then you get the Cubone, it's like weeping sleep. I was like, oh, and he's like crying in his sleep. And I was like, this is depressing.
Well,
I'm sleeping
is just as bad. He has a headache even at rest.
God.
And then I recently did finish season 1 of The Boys. I'm into season 2. I know what's coming in season 3. I know. I don't exactly know visually, but I know it's coming.
It's worse than you think. You don't have to say anything. I'm like, I know what he's talking about.
So that's going well. I'm probably going to be starting next week. Good Omens 2 that comes out today. Yes, I loved the first one. We get the second one now. So
I have to watch that with Amanda, or she will divorce me, and I can't risk that. She makes way more than I do. She'd win.
And I know Christian is excited for it because he's just like, how can they continue the story now that it's kind of outside the realm of what the author already did?
Yeah, because 2 of my favorite authors worked on Good Omens as a collaboration, and they came up with the idea for a sequel but never did it. So the fact that Neil Gaiman is taking all of those notes and making a sequel, I hope he does Terry Pratchett justice. That's all I'm going to say.
I hope so. I mean, I at least like when some of the creators are involved in stuff like this. It's not like it was just taken and they ran with it.
That's fair.
Yeah. But we can hope. Even someone who made something can mess up. So,
yeah. Other than that, I am looking forward to probably trying out the new Double Dragon game that came out.
Friend gifted it to me already.
Of course they did.
Jeez,
because they just announced another collection coming that adds in a few more Double Dragons we didn't get previously, and the developers of this one also showed off that, in case anybody was interested, they actually did mock-ups for everything from Ghostbusters to Mighty Final Fight, and there was one other one they did too, but they were basically saying, hey, look, we can do other beat 'em up and fighting game styles as well if you guys want us to.
Ghostbusters would be hilarious.
Ghostbusters, the mock-up they showed looked like it was the that Genesis one where they had big heads.
Oh, that one.
That's fantastic.
That was weird.
I do like that they went back and made a new version of that and released it that has Winston, because I always wondered why Winston was never in these.
I think it was because of just data space. Like they could only fit probably just 3 of them.
That, or they were just maybe they only saw the beginning of the movie before.
Oh boy, before Winston.
Oh man, they did Winston dirty. But going back to The Boys, did you see the trailer for the Generation V show that they've got coming out? It's kind of like the old Generation X TV show, but like a school with teenagers that are superpowered.
In lieu of not wanting anything to possibly be spoiled, I didn't look into it. I just knew that it got announced.
The trailer, I don't think it spoiled anything. Like it showed little clips from stuff they already showed in the trailers, I think, for just
because I
like
saw
one
it
of the
trending
characters
on X,
getting ready to race and all
and
that.
and I was like, oh, I shouldn't click on this because there's probably somebody who's gonna tweet about it. Sorry, X about it.
Don't you dare.
And
Yeah, we're not talking about that.
and talk. Yeah, my logo changed and my notifications changed. But anyway,
Yeah, I was holding that hope. My
after I
phone was
saw that
saying,
trending, I looked into it somewhere else, and I was like, oh, okay, that's what it is. Because if I know anything about X, is this gonna get spoiled for me if I'm
"Are
not?
you going to make that movement every time you say X?" God, that's
Patent
great.
pending.
Patent pending.
Until it's stricken.
Until they take it away from me and just give me that you can't do this. You can only do X 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 8 7 6 5.
Yeah, that was kind of messed up, and they just took his stuff. Anyways, all right. Moving on. Chris, what have you been up to?
I've also been playing Pokemon Sleep, and I've discovered that worrying about Pokemon Sleep has made me sleep less. But aside from that, I was very happy about the release of Zelda Oracle of Ages and Oracle of Seasons, because I
Yes.
consider those my favorite portable Zelda games before
Really?
the 3DS era. I would probably put those two up there with Link Between Worlds as my favorite Zelda games in
Oh,
terms
just
of portability.
outright.
Yeah. I've also been using up those rental tickets and trying out Rashid. I have not bought a battle pass for Street Fighter 6 yet. I'm going to try and wait until all 4 characters have been released before I do that.
Don't you have
Oh,
enough
yeah.
money from all the hours you put into that game?
Oh, wait. Oh, the fighter tickets and stuff? Well, again, because I draw and write and stream, I cannot play Street Fighter 6 and work on the same day without my knuckles melting. So I haven't been playing as much as I used to. Aside from that, I've been playing Death's Door again because it is a fun game to go back to in terms of story, graphics, and gameplay.
Nice. I need to catch one of your streams sometime. I keep forgetting you're doing that.
One of these days.
Eventually. Well, jumping into what I've been up to, actually talking about streaming as well. Stephen and I the other day gave a test run for doing a streaming show over on Twitch as well, which I think turned out well. We talked for over an hour, just kind of goofing off, talking about stuff, and we were thinking about doing a almost like a monthly show or whenever to kind of show like, hey, here's some of the stuff we've got for our collections this month. And if it's a light month, we haven't gotten that much. We can also kind of highlight parts of our collections themselves and kind of show them off, talk about those, and just discuss the oddities, because we both find we have a lot of fun talking about weird crap that we get. Like my lovely Optimus Prime here.
I am Optimus Prime.
As I just said.
Nice.
He goes through the whole thing. It's actually surprisingly loud for this little guy.
Decepticons must be stopped.
His eyeballs light up. I love it. I just randomly found this one day and I was like, okay, this is coming home with me. But I think it went pretty well. I'm going to work on trying to get some better artwork and stuff for it. It was literally just us being on there, and I was streaming the screen that we were on from Discord.
Watch party.
Yeah, we were doing a watch party as well where we could watch YouTube videos. So next time there's a Nintendo Direct, if we all wait to watch it, we might be able to get together that night and actually watch it together if we want to, though we're all impatient and have lives, so that's probably not going to happen.
Yeah, with a Nintendo Direct, it could be very hard.
Yeah.
It's usually midday.
But with an Xbox showcase and a PlayStation, whatever it's called,
I'm still impatient, so we'll see.
that might be easier because at least those are usually in like the afternoons.
That's true. Of course, my work schedule, it still always ends up being while I'm at work. And every time something happens, they'll be like, okay, now we need you to leave the lab and do something. And I'm like, you guys left me alone all day. And as soon as the Direct starts, hey, can you get me out here to the shop? And I'm like, I have to come back in, rewind it, and try not to get spoiled on stuff. And Rachel, she did not mean to do this, but she would start messaging me because she thought I was watching it live. She's like, oh my God, they announced that. crap, I haven't seen that yet. I just got back in the lab. She didn't know. She felt really bad about that. And I was like, it's all good. But actual gameplay wise, I've of course been still working on Final Fantasy 16. I am very slow at going along with this, but I'm greatly enjoying it, so I'll take it. But I started and I've been playing Pikmin 4. I've actually really been liking it. It was kind of slow to start off with for me. And the more I've been giving it a chance and kind of digging into it, I've just been exploring as much as I want, finding everything I can. And that game is absolutely adorable still. Like, I've only gotten to the point I just found the flying Pikmin, so I'm not that far in. But
yeah, they announced that, or Nintendo didn't, but sales numbers announced that it has now outpaced and outsold the entire original trilogy combined, and
so sad.
at least in Japan, it's outsold Final Fantasy 16.
Are you serious?
And I'm like, dang, that's the power of Pikmin.
That's really funny, but 16 is really good. So I don't know. I know some people are divisive about it. They're like, oh, well, it's not a traditional RPG. And I'm like, that's probably part of why I'm still playing it more, because it's not. On a more personal note, I did finally order some hardware that came in that lets me back up the save data for Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance cartridges. And that's convenient for changing batteries and stuff. But the reason I wanted to bring it up is I finally I'd found a copy of mine of The Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening DX. You guys remember that one? It was the second re-release that was Game Boy Color compatible on the black cartridge.
Color, you got an extra dungeon.
Exactly. I had forgotten a while back. I had loaned that to my little brother to play. And when I was testing my Analog Pocket when I got it, I found out his save is still on there. Actually says Ian and has what he had done. So I kind of made it my mission to get the equipment to preserve that, because I was always terrified the battery's going to eventually die, because they will. And Game Boy Color games are getting to that point that they're starting to wear out. I think one of my Pokemon games I had to swap its batteries out. I know both my Donkey Kong 94s did, like both of them. But I was able to finally back up the data. And I even went ahead and made a fresh copy of the cartridge on there, so it's the same one, and put that on my Analog Pocket through some of the emulators. So I can pull it up and have all that stuff there, but it's preserved. So since my brother passed, it was just kind of something I wanted to have. So I got that done. That made me happy. And of course, while I'm waiting for the thing to get here, when I ordered it, I'm freaking out, going like, is the battery going to die today? I better be careful with it. I better not mess with it. Because I've been terrified to play my copy of Zelda because of that.
That happened to my copy of Earthbound.
Ooh. That sucks.
Yeah. But, I still managed to beat the game back in the day, so,
Oh, man. And I guess some other stuff that I ordered. Are you guys very familiar with Star Trek?
Here and there.
Is it the thing with the sabers and the light and darks?
Yeah, they have like their little spacesuits. They go out on spacewalks like these.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thunderhawks, okay.
Yeah. Then, of course, you've got the engineering crew, and then you've got the security guys.
GoBots. Yeah, I know GoBots.
The captain.
Oh, boy.
I'm going to have so much fun with that, annoyingly. So the company that was making the models of the ships, Eagle Moss, went bankrupt like out of the blue, I think about a year ago. Yeah, they were still making them. I was buying them. I absolutely love those models. I have a ton of them. And they announced the ones I really wanted. I think they were available for like less than a day. And they were like, all right, we're stopping all sales. We're going bankrupt. And we're like, what the hell? So another company ended up buying out the rights to make the Star Trek stuff, and bought out the stock that company had of like their ships. And they've been kind of, I don't want to say leaking them out because it sounds kind of bad, but they're doing like releases where they're like, hey, here's a limited stock we have of these. We're not making more, until we start our own production, but we'll go ahead and put these out and make them available. And I've been getting a few of those. Like I got the NX01 refit, which is now canon thanks to Star Trek Picard. That's one of the recent ones I got. But the one that I got today, I ended up paying a lot of money for these. I finally got the USS Cerritos, which is the main ship from Star Trek Lower Decks. Oh, I love how it looks. But that one they had announced, barely released it, and then just, we're done. I was like, no, I really wanted that one. So I managed to get it now. They were like, yeah, we're going live at like 3:00 Central. And I'm sitting at my computer going like, dude, nothing's going to make me leave my computer right now so I can get this done. So I grabbed that and the USS Titan, both of which are the Lower Decks editions. So they're actually painted to look like the cartoon.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, that's just kind of my little, I'm waiting for these to come in. So happy me. So, all right, well, let's go ahead and move into the news. I guess since we've not much else going on after we've talked about everything else. I guess to start us off, you guys familiar with a game called Diablo IV? If you don't have consistent internet, you don't.
Apparently the update ruined all the fun.
Yeah, that update has caused some serious issues. But one other thing that they've been doing is they've kind of been accused of poorly designing their interface almost to a malicious level. So what happened was if you bought the collector's edition of Diablo 4, you got a token for a season pass, and people were finding out you don't have to use it on the first season pass that they put out. It could be for any of them, so people could save them and see how they're doing. So a lot of people were doing that. They'd just go ahead and get the first season or just play as normal to see what happens. And anytime you're going through this stuff, you'd pull up the menu to look at your options, and without warning, they have it right there where you can just buy the season pass. You'll just use your token. So people will hit it, and without a notification or even asking, do you want to make the purchase, it would just spend the token and go.
Oh, geez.
And this happened to people on stream, like multiple people. They're just like, hey, we're doing this stuff. Let's see what we got to do next. Boop. Oops, I bought the season pass. And people were pissed.
That shouldn't be allowed. There should be an option to say yes or no. There needs to be confirmation.
What I find kind of funny, and this is telling for a lot of people, because, okay, so these people bought the season pass. They spent more, or not the season pass, the collector's edition. So they spent more money on it. They got to play it early, all that stuff. If you did not have that and you clicked on it, it would come up confirming if you wanted to pay for it, like it should. But if you had the pass, it would, or the token, it would just use it. It wouldn't even bother asking. And people are like, oh, well, that's what they get for paying the extra money. And I'm like,
how dare you?
Yeah.
How dare you pay more money? How dare you get those privileged bastards?
Exactly. I'm like, come on, we can do better than that. But like one of the streamers called them out saying it was a maliciously bad design. Like they did it on purpose. And I don't know yet. I haven't seen anything if Blizzard is going to try and return that to the people that are like, I didn't want to use this. And given their track record recently of like multiple servers going down or stuff happening and people losing these massive characters that they've been playing on the hardest difficulty, for like an internet glitch or something happens and they're just gone, they're not returning them. I kind of have a feeling what their answer is going to be. So it almost feels like Activision Blizzard's doing everything they can to just become hated before Xbox takes over. Oh, this is part of why.
It reminds me of when you watch anything from IGN on mobile. Unlike every other company that I've channel that I've watched, IGN puts their channel right in the center over the pause button. So I watched the trailer from like a Comic-Con for one of the things that was announced, and then I hit pause and oh look, I went to IGN's channel and I was like, I don't know if you guys get anything from me going there, but that's dirty to put the circular IGN symbol right over the pause button.
Yeah, we get clicks. We get it. But yeah, this is part of why I'm still just staying away from Diablo 4. Like I loved Diablo 1, 2, and 3. 3 I did not play until they came out with an offline version of it, which was the 360 release and on, which is why it's now available on the Switch and I can play it even on a plane. But until they make that change for Diablo 4 with all these problems, I'm just gonna probably end up just staying away from it, which is sad. It looks like it would be really good.
Now, on a lighter note of Activision Blizzard, Overwatch 2 actually has a new game mode that's live right now that is basically what Valve has done for a while with one of their mods, but they have a prop hunt mode.
A what hunt?
Prop hunt. It basically means like your character can turn into an object from the level to try to hide. Or the other one, if they find him, they shoot him and kill him. And at first I did a double take, and I said, "Wait, so you're not just doing all these PvP modes? You're doing something different?" And sure enough, they have a prop hunt mode, and I was like, "Well, I might have to update my game."
That actually does sound amusing.
I kind of want to try that.
I was like, "Yeah, I'd play that with you guys. Like, if we can get, I don't know what's the minimum amount of players, but at least when people played the original incarnations of prop hunt and Valve's mod for a prop hunt mode, it was usually just 4 people. So easy to get 4 people together for a free game to play a free mode.
Right. It's not going to have a story mode, but we'll have paid story pieces. I don't know. It would be the first time I've actually turned Overwatch 2 on because they messed it up so bad. I just stopped playing my original Overwatch.
I was like, something like that with the right people playing with me, I could be firing up Overwatch 2.
Yeah. Well, another news story I forgot to put on here, I guess. Speaking of what would get you to come back to a shooter, Futurama is coming to. They're on Fortnite right now.
There you go, Chris. Time is now.
You can get Leela, you can get Fry, and you can get Bender to play as.
Do they have their voices?
I believe they do. I know they have all of them have an emote you can use that does the Zoidberg. Woo, 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 woo. And you actually get claws and start clapping him and dancing around. And of course, what was it? Bender has like the little baby Bender robot as a backpack. I'm trying to remember which one Fry had. Oh, Fry had the Hypnotoad.
Oh,
so you could have the Hypnotoad on your back. And Leela had Nibbler.
Of course.
Oh,
that's neat.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm probably gonna get it. Like I only play Fortnite on occasion, but I like getting certain skins. It's fun. Like I came back for Ghostbusters immediately.
Oh, that's fair.
I got all the Ghostbusters stuff. I didn't get all the Star Wars and everything, but you come back for what you want. And as much as people give them crap for all the marketing, I think it's really smart for Fortnite because it's people would get more involved in that, if they do it. I missed out on Optimus Prime. I think I missed out on him. I have to see, but I might go back.
They never do re-releases?
Rarely of some of these. Sometimes they do. I know the Star Wars ones came back and so forth, but I don't know.
Make it so they get those numbers. Chris is this is the only time you can get it type stuff.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Then I'm not interested.
Well, I mean, like Star Wars comes back because there's different Star Wars things to do. Futurama is because the new season of Futurama just started, which I still have to watch. I don't know how they're going to hold up to this one because Futurama, I absolutely love that show.
I've heard good things, but I'm not going to judge until I've actually played it. And for me, when it comes to FOMO, it has the opposite effect. If you tell me I need to get something now, then I'm not going to get it ever.
Well,
is that why we don't have Darkstalkers 4? Because you didn't buy the 360 version? Come on.
That was the last time I did it.
Well, I'm kind of curious on that, though. Like, we always know any of the skins are limited time because they're only going to do the licensing deal for so long. You get to keep them, but they're not always available.
Yeah, but it depends on how soon limited means.
I think they're going to be up there for most of the season, so that's like a month or two. Like it's not. They don't normally do, like they will do certain ones daily, and we just lost and gained connection again. So there's a good chance this video is probably not going to work, and I don't know why I did that. Anyway,
well, I mean, to each their own. I don't even play Fortnite, so it's not exactly high on my radar. But it's cool to see and cool to hear about.
Well, what I was going to say before the lovely video messed up on us, the ones that Fortnite make, the skins that they make, tend to be limited time because they'll just cycle them in and out as they go. And then the licensed ones go for a set amount of time, just whatever their license deal is. And I think that's kind of how they end up doing those. So I don't think it's kind of a bit of FOMO. I mean, that's just inherent to the fact of what they're doing, but that may just be also how they get around doing it.
I think Fall Guys does a similar thing that they switch out their costumes too.
That's true.
Because they just announced Final Fantasy XIV costumes.
I wouldn't be surprised if Street Fighter starts doing that. They kind of do where only, certain costume parts are only available for a certain amount of time.
Well, right now, Street Fighter is busy in PlayerUnknown Battleground.
Yeah, and they have Avengers level facial.
I watched that trailer where like 4 characters from Street Fighter 6 are in it. I'm like, oh god.
No, that's just their stunt doubles.
You idiot! You captured their stunt doubles.
they look, their faces and stuff look like it was drawn by that GamePro artist.
Oh, that's just not right.
Wow. I'm gonna have to go find this GamePro artist now.
I have that artist's covers just burned into my retinas.
Oh man.
I was a terrible artist when I was a kid, and I still thought I could do better than that guy. Ugh.
I have a bunch of old GamePros. I'm going to have to look. Ugh.
I could point you to them.
So, okay. We'll have to look into that. But moving on from one terrible art idea to another, the PlayStation 5 Project Q has been leaked. So apparently a tech account called Zuby got a hold of one of the devices early and showed it off, and it is just as bad as everyone kind of thought it would be. Doing a full breakdown of it, it's basically just an Android phone with PS5 controllers attached to it. Like, they ended up opening the screen. They were going through the menu and running it, but the interface is really early, so I don't think that's going to be the final. They probably got a hold of it before the actual OS was flashed on it. But people are still willing to pay like a couple $100 for this thing just to stream their PS5 games in their house.
It feels like a waste of energy.
It feels like a Wii U, which means we're making the same statement sometimes. It's just a gamepad. They literally made a Wii U gamepad that streams the game to the controller, and you have to stay within a certain distance on your Wi-Fi network.
So it's not even portable.
No, you could not use this on a plane, or heaven forbid try and use this on an airport or anywhere outside your house. You pretty much have to be connected to the Wi-Fi of your PS5.
Yeah.
So what's the point?
In the past, it was like with the Vita, you could remote play your PS3 games, but your PS3 1 had to be on, and 2, it had to be you had to be connected on Wi-Fi no matter where you were, so you could communicate constantly.
Which this is the exact same thing, except for now it has to be the actual local Wi-Fi, so it's even shorter range.
Not better, boring.
Yeah. But I love the fact that people are defending this, going like, well, I want to, if my wife wants to watch TV, I want to be able to sit there and play games or not have to use the TV, or maybe I can play from my, play from my bed or something. I'm like,
schedule better.
Yeah. This is the same argument y'all made. Oh, the Wii U is stupid because I was like, that's the same things it would do, guys.
The same people who said, look at this innovation. This PlayStation controller has a speaker on it. Oh, I wonder what controllers had that before. Or, oh, our controllers don't need rumble. That's dumb. And then, oh, what's this DualShock? From 6-axis to DualShock after Sony themselves said, people don't like rumble.
Yeah, that's a last generation feature.
But now they have haptic feedback. So it's like,
I thought that was because of a lawsuit.
It was. They didn't want to pay the fee for licensing the rumble. So they were like, we're just going to get rid of it. And then they finally made a deal, and we're like, "Oh, look, it's back, everybody! Yay!"
Oh Lord!
But every time they're like, "Look at this feature; it's amazing," I was just like, "You guys are seriously Apple, aren't you?" Because everybody else has had this for a while.
Yeah, could you think of a legitimate reason you'd be interested in a couple $100 controller that's just an 8-inch touchscreen on it?
If I run the YouTube channel Blend Tech and I want to know, will it blend?
Okay, that is not the answer I ever expected to hear from anybody, but I appreciate that and question you. Um, Chris, would this be up your alley at all?
Honestly, I just want a proper competitor to the Switch in terms of portable gaming, and I don't know if either Microsoft or Sony are willing to provide that.
I still think the best competitor to that so far has been the Steam Deck. Like, it's got issues, but
Yeah,
that thing has been
with the
nice.
Steam Deck and the Ally, I think they're, that's the competitions you're going to get.
And the nice thing is they still fit together well. Like, I have not slowed down playing my Switch whatsoever, but I can still enjoy. I think the Steam Deck has actually taken away console time more than Switch time, to be honest with you. So
it's just weird. I mean, I'm waiting. Maybe it's just too early. I'm waiting for Sony to explain the new amazing ability that this system has that the others won't. Otherwise, it's just it's a waste of resources.
Their explanation is just, it says PlayStation, buy it.
Yeah, apparently that's it. Apparently.
I think they just had a warehouse full of like PlayStation 5 controllers that have been broken by fans who got overzealous playing Madden or something, and they sent them in for repairs and got them replaced. And they're like, "What do we do with these? Let's just put an Android screen on. We got tons of those too.
Yeah.
Our Xperia phones failed, so let's just put those screens on there."
Oh my god. That'd be great if this was actually like old Sony phone parts. It's repurposed and renewed.
The footage looked like it. Why does all this leaked footage always have to be blurry and sideways? And
look, you're either a good thief or a great photographer. You don't get to be both. I can take good video and pictures. I can't steal anything.
like,
I suck at it.
extremely quick segue. Congress just came out with like, we found UFOs and we hauled away bodies that were not human. You said that under oath. Nobody's gonna fact check that, and there's no pictures. So Pixar, it didn't happen.
Pixar didn't happen.
No, hopefully you'll stop asking about the budget and global warming. Aliens, everybody.
Oh, we are living in stupid times.
Interesting.
So let's talk about a pizza-smelling controller.
Yeah.
I was gonna have a carryover from a weird PlayStation controller to this, but I think the alien thing kind of. Good job, Steven. This actually works out. So Microsoft is giving away a set of Ninja Turtle design controllers that can smell like pizza. And I saw some more videos of this earlier, but this is made to promote the upcoming TMNT Mutant Mayhem movie, which I'm excited for. I'm
It looks
really
really
liking.
good.
Yeah, I'm liking how it is. This is the only pop figure I've bought for a while, but I ended up getting Donatello because I loved the nerdy look with the glasses and the headphones and a purple fanny pack.
I just saw on Target today they had Leonardo and the Turtle Van came out.
Ooh.
So, but I like the fact this is the first time they're actually voiced by kids. They're actual teenagers that are voicing them. But so these controllers that they did, each controller has a pizza shaped scent diffuser that's on the back of it. And it's actually the battery cover. So it connects where they charge it, and you can drip in this pizza scent into the little hole in the center pepperoni and then hit the button and it will make a pizza scent while you're playing.
Everything in there. Oh no.
I was about to say, like, yeah, you can make that. Just means you can make your controller smell like anything.
Yeah, well, there's only 4 of these, so it's not going to be. Depends on where they end up at.
Like, yeah, how do you order more pizza steak?
Mr. Beast is gonna drop like, I don't know, 10 grand, buy all 4 of them, and then he's gonna have that like smiley face where he's just like, we test different liquids in the diffuser.
My controllers already smell like pizza, so I have no problem.
We put cat pee in the controller. How long can they play before they have to stop?
Exactly. We took 40 80-year-olds and 48-year-olds. Let's see who lasts longer.
Oh boy.
we found the sweat off of an old person. Now play.
But as
It's a
Chris said,
YouTube video. They would do it.
He's already an owner of the pizza controller already, and he already has an old prototype for a Cheetos controller.
Oh man. So, I mean, I like the creativity of it. Like normally you would get just a themed, which I kind of hope they would release the controllers without the diffuser because I do really like the artwork of them. I actually put the picture in the show notes, so I know I can't show it on the show, but you guys can see it. And I'm kind of digging, like on the left, they've got a graffiti style of their name in each of their colors. And on the right-hand side, they've got a nice drawing of each of the new turtle models from the movie.
It just makes me wonder how top heavy it is with that slice of pizza jammed in it.
And it is a full shape of pizza. Like it's a full slice. It's not even just like the top sticking out like I thought. It actually is a full pizza slice with the battery back that you pop on there. And I'm like, okay, we have made this. Man has gone too far.
It's still better than the Sonic the Movie fuzzy Xbox controllers.
I remember that. God, I hope no one actually played that.
Better than the Earthbound marketing where they were like, scratch and sniff this, and it was barf.
Now, do you remember? Oh, yeah, I remember that. Gran Turismo 2, I think, in Europe, you could scratch the discs and it would either smell like gasoline or asphalt. Like
now,
that's the two discs I think were that way.
I gotta admit, it smells pretty good, but not asphalt.
Sniffing gas. Oh man. So I don't even know if I don't think I actually entered for this. I don't even know if I want to, but points for creativity. Like it's better than normal, weird stuff. All right, so moving on, we have a little bit of Star Trek news, which, hey, we actually do cover things other than just games. So the second half of Star Trek Prodigy, the almost like award-nominated, award-winning, already canceled show by Paramount Plus. Good job, jackasses. They decided to cancel it, even though the second season's almost done, and then just removed it from Paramount Plus, just scraped it off the face of the earth. They're kind of rolling that back a little bit. Season 2 apparently is being worked on still, but they're trying to find who is going to actually release it. So there's a hope that we're still going to see season 2, at least to close off that story, because I really liked it. But Star Trek Prodigy season 1 was only ever released halfway physically. Episodes 1 through 10 were on Blu-ray, which I did get, which I'm glad I got the day they announced this, because the prices of those things skyrocketed immediately. Like they're going for a penny now if you want to try and get them, like pretty penny. But episodes, yeah, bad choice of words on my part. Yeah. There's a lot of pennies. You're going to need a lot of pennies.
Okay.
So episodes 11 through 20, the second half of the first season, have finally been announced that they are actually coming out. So sometime later this year, they're supposed to be released for Blu-ray. And you can at least get the first season on Amazon. You can buy the episodes. So it's back in some viewable way. If that's the only way you can get it, if you buy the season on Amazon and want to watch it, I still think Star Trek Prodigy was really good. It started off kind of weird, because my original thought of this was like, it's just like a kid's show. And it turned out to be way better than I thought it would. It went a little bit more mature than I thought it would. And ended up being a show that I really wanted that second season to continue and see where the story goes, because it acts almost like a sequel to Voyager for parts of it. And then they just canned it. So let's hoping someone else picks it up, because I want to watch it. So, yeah. The other thing, if you have not watched it yet, last weekend they surprise dropped These Old Scientists, or TOS, which was not the most recent, because they still released an episode this week, but one of the more recent Star Trek Strange New World episodes, which has the Christopher Pike era Enterprise crossover with the characters from Star Trek Lower Decks, the animated series. and it worked really well. This may actually be one of my favorite Star Trek episodes of all time now. And I'm not even being overly dramatic. I'm being dead serious. Even the credits had me laughing with tears.
Wow.
That's how good it was. Like the opening credits, I was laughing at the jokes and the way they did it. So pretty much the idea of it is, because they released this in the trailers, two of the main characters from Lower Decks, Boimler and Mariner, which are played by Jack Quaid and Tawny Newsome, get stuck through a portal and end up in the past, stuck with the guys from Strange New Worlds. And so they're animated, and then they get thrown in there, and they're live action played by their own actors. And it works so well. Jack Quaid, especially since you're watching The Boys, you've gotten to know him now.
And My Adventures with Superman.
I still need to watch that, by the way. His hair is purple like it is in the cartoon. They don't even make it look weird. It's just he has purple hair like he should. Everything looks exactly like you think it should when you watch the show. But you need to watch it. Like, I know I've probably already talked about this before, but you guys need to watch this. It's great. I'm being all excited for a live action show and a cartoon. Don't care.
I haven't watched Star Trek in ages.
Really?
But I think Lower
Tell
Decks.
me what you just said too, because the later on what you're going to be talking about is a live action and a cartoon I'm interested in.
I'm okay with that.
But go
What
on,
were you saying,
sorry,
Chris?
I was going to say I haven't watched Star Trek in ages, but I think since I do lean toward comedy for my entertainment, I'll probably give Lower Decks a chance.
So, yeah, definitely watch Lower Decks. They just announced the 4th and 5th seasons of this one are going to be coming out. So, like, it's been doing really good. And if you liked older Star Trek, like Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, and Voyager era, they dig into that deep, like tons of references, and they touch on it. And there's a lot of stuff in the original series too. So tons of jokes with that. I think you'll like. My son watched the most recent, the These Old Scientists, which that's their joke when they're talking about the Captain Kirk era Enterprise and stuff like that. Everyone refers to that as TOS, or the original series. So they started running where they're like, oh yeah, those old scientists.
Oh, that's clever.
I was like, okay, that's really smart. And that was a joke from the actual show that became the title of this episode. There's a lot of stuff like that. Like it's great. So, all right. Now that I've nerded out about what I like, let's talk about other people that nerd about what they like from San Diego Comic-Con 2023 that just happened. There were no actors and no writers because there's still a strike going on. And I fully support the fact that they should actually be paid for their work and not have a machine do it, because machine very bad.
Let's have the machines replace the CEOs.
You know what? That might actually be a good.
No, that would be worse, because then they're dictating what the rest do.
They'd have just as much emotional attachment. But just in support of that, with the actors and the writers, without both of those, and including like the animators and everything else, we would not have gotten that episode of Star Trek that is now one of my favorites. Would not have happened without both of those. Also, that episode was directed by Jonathan Frakes. That's another huge bonus towards that one. So, yeah. But some of the stuff we had at San Diego Comic-Con is going to make me kind of sad, because there is a Transformer that was shown off that I want so badly, and I cannot justify spending $1,500 for it. Roboson made a Grimlock, G1 Grimlock, that can actually transform, talk, walk around, do stuff, interact with the other Roboson Transformer they made previously, which was Optimus Prime. It is glorious, and you can make it fart. That doesn't even make sense. It's a robot. You shouldn't have gas. But
It's gas powered.
Yeah, it's programmed to actually, when you tell it to fart, which you do that from a command from the phone, it can do voice activated or the phones and stuff. It will look around like it's trying to see if anyone's there, bends over and just lets it go, and it actually kind of twists its hips while it does it, and then just kind of gets back up and goes, nah, and just wanders off.
Very dignified.
Oh yeah, no, it's Grimlock. If he could do it, I wouldn't be surprised. But yeah, if you don't get it during the pre-order period, which was either at Comic-Con or on Roboson's website or Hasbro Pulse, it goes up to $1,800. Now, this thing's 15 inches tall, so it is huge. It is almost double the height of my Masterpiece Grimlock, which is the biggest one I have. If I'll pull that out at some point, I'll show you guys, not on the stream, but I'll show you guys yourselves. That thing is gloriously detailed. It looks as good as that Masterpiece, but like double the size. So it's 15 inches tall. It's voiced by the original G1 voice actor, Greg Berger. The Transformer can walk in both robot and dinosaur modes. So it can actually get around in both, which is great. There's 150 lines of spoken dialogue, voice commands, like 40 different voice commands you can give it and so forth. It's one of those things you see it and you're like, I want this so bad, but I know I cannot afford that. Oh, my wife would kill me. Guys,
yeah,
is this worth my life?
That is a chunk.
Mm.
Yeah, it's whenever I saw like the Mario watch that was done by a company and had so much like pixel animations into it and stuff, and then I was just like, how much could this be? And it was as much as Grimlock. And I was like,
God.
I was like, I can't. I was like, because you're not paying for what's on it, you're paying for like who made it. And I was like, I can't, not for that. I'd rather pay because of what it can do, not what it says on the back.
And I mean, keep in mind this thing, technology wise, like, yeah, it's a toy, but this thing can transform on its own, which has been done. It's not super impressive, but then you realize it's also self-balancing, which is a big deal, that this thing can move around and do these actions while balancing itself on different environments. Like that's a surprising amount of processing and stuff for actual toys. Like, when are we going to get to small soldiers where I'm having to run through my house being chased by a Grimlock trying to kill me?
Or that Krusty the Clown from the Halloween special.
Oh, I had it on evil.
Here's your problem. Someone set this thing to evil.
Thank you, Chris. I greatly appreciate that. Also, you do that voice really well.
I watch too much Simpsons.
No, you didn't. You just watched just enough. There's never not enough, too much Simpsons. That's part of what got me into Futurama as well. It's just a continuation for me.
But do you watch Disenchantment?
I do. I love that show.
Oh.
we need to, Chris and I need to finish that series. We're almost done with it. I
mean, shoot, I need to go back and finish, I think, the last season that popped up just to refresh on it. I would love to just sit down and talk to you guys about it because I like the world they built with that.
It doesn't hit me as close as Futurama did, but it has its intrigue.
I like the creativity of it because they do have a fun time playing with the world and the environment and in a great way. I know some of the jokes are kind of repeats, but they're modified to be, modern day Simpsons. You've got Futurama Future, or you've got, these guys back in a magical medieval time. But I thought they've done some cool stuff. But yeah, Futurama, I think, is still the better one. All right. So next up, Netflix actually showed off the One Piece live action trailer. And I'm not super familiar with One Piece. I've watched a few episodes. I knew of it. But it's a series that's got so many episodes. It is terrifyingly daunting for me to start.
1,089, if I'm not mistaken. And Crunchyroll just released the English dub to about 900-ish episodes.
Oh my God. So like I've just recently picked up, like this is you probably can't see this because the video probably died. It's the Venture Brothers Complete DVD set. And then I also picked up the Radiant is the Blood of the Baboon Heart movie they just put out that ends the series. And this is 7 seasons. And this is probably nowhere near any of that. And I'm like, this is still going to be daunting to go back and rewatch it. I'm going to enjoy it though. This is a great show. You know, all those lovely kids with their working, functioning kidneys.
I met the creators. I was so happy.
I got to meet them at Comic-Con one year, and I took a picture of a guy that was, I guess he was just randomly cosplaying at it, but he looked like if they ever had cast a live action Dr. Venture, I was like, this must be the guy they drew off of, because he looked terrifyingly like him. Like he needed to eat. He was too skinny.
Yeah,
like a human should not be capable of that.
And then I forget. I don't think I suggested it. I think one of the other guys did, but then we did like a 3-way Go Team Venture and took a picture. That was kind of awesome.
Go Team Venture! They keep doing that.
But I'm excited for the One Piece live action series. I've always been, I have a penchant for having like the ragtag group of people, each with a special ability, and this was right up my alley. But I couldn't get into over 1,000 episodes. So this is still going to scratch that itch for me, plus the fact that Oda-san, the creator, kind of gave the green light to all of the scenes and what happened in there, even going down to where he didn't like one scene, so he told Netflix we're changing it, and Netflix said, yeah, okay. They didn't say, no, we spent enough money. They said, no, we'll do it.
One of my coworkers is like really big into One Piece. Like that's his whole thing. Speaking of Futurama, he's like, or not Futurama, Fortnite. Oh God, get my F words mixed up. He's like, I'll get back into that whenever they get One Piece characters in there. Cause he keeps hoping like, is the next season going to have it? But he's been telling me about it. He was showing me off his card collection today, for crying out loud. But he was talking about how the creator got to go in and handpick who was playing the characters. So I'm like, okay. So I'm hopeful for it. He said this season is supposed to cover the first season of the show. So I could kind of watch it and get a abridged version through here. So I might do that to kind of start it off. And if it catches my interest on that more condensed level, maybe I'll go and finally start the animated version of it,
But definitely.
Say what, Chris?
That works. I've read a fair bit of the manga, but not nearly half, not even a quarter. So I still have a long way to go myself.
Yeah. After that, we had a trailer released for Invincible Season 2, which I'm waiting for that one, with all kinds of new voice actors coming into it. So we're going to be getting 8 weekly episodes this year. Then they're going to take a break with the rest of them showing up in 2024. So hopefully that hiatus isn't too long. I know that's part of what happened with Star Trek Prodigy that kind of slowed its momentum, where they had the first 10 episodes. There's a huge gap, and then the next 10 came out. There's a new episode called Adam Eve that's available now on Amazon.
It was excellent. I watched it.
I saw clips of it. I'm planning on watching it tonight after the show. I just didn't have time today. I had to work. But what made me happy, because once again, I'm a Transformer nerd at heart, Peter Cullen, the voice of Optimus Prime, also the narrator from Voltron, is joining the show, along with a very long list of voice actors that if I tried to sit here and list, we'd be here a while.
Also, I'd like to add, because it was one of those TILs today I learned, Peter Cullen also did the sound effects for the Predator, the original Predator.
Yes, he did.
That was one of those things that you always knew who was in the suit. You knew who was jumping around and everything, but then you finally find out who did those little clicks. And I was like, wow, all right.
Yep, Optimus Prime. So, the next thing that I was looking into, this kind of confusion, I forgot this existed, but the Borderlands movie is still apparently happening and will be coming out August 9th, 2024, with the surprising cast of Cate Blanchett, Kevin Hart, Jack Black, Ariana Greenblatt, Florian Montagu, and Jamie Lee Curtis. That's a lot of people I did not expect to show up in a Borderlands film at all. No images or anything from the movie has been shown. We don't know what they look like, exactly who they're playing. We don't even know what the style of the movie is going to be in. Who else is kind of worried about this?
I've had people today say that they've been watching the Twisted Metal
Mhm.
Peacock show.
Oh, that's
episode.
out?
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
It
gosh.
out
came
and
out
running
about
now.
a couple days ago, I think.
And they said they've been enjoying it. It's not taking itself too seriously. So
Okay.
I think the Borderlands movie, if as long as they don't stray too far from what kind of like what makes it funny or what makes it fun,
Mm-hmm.
it'll be fine. I don't know if you've ever seen that Daniel Radcliffe one, that show. I think it's on TBS where now they're in the apocalypse. First they were in like
No.
Oregon Trail times and stuff, and it seems like the same actors go through these different time periods. The one they're in now is basically an apocalyptic setting, but all the humor is straight up Borderlands. And I was just like, if they can emulate just this, then they're fine.
That's not a remake by chance, is it?
No,
Because
not that
there was a British TV series. I'm trying to remember the name of it right now. It had Rowan Atkinson
Oh,
and
Blackadder? No, yeah, it's not that.
Blackadder, yeah, where it was the same group and they kept showing stuff from different time periods. Like it was like
That I
medieval
know. I
times, World
don't
War
think so.
II.
It's probably emulating its style, but it's not like a remake.
Okay, cool. Because that can be so hit or miss when they
Um,
redo that.
quick segue back to Adam Eve. I do
Yes,
want to say that Adam and Eve does feature the posthumous voice of Lance Heddick as well. It's one of his last roles.
I noticed that in the trailer and I was just like, oh,
Yep.
Lance Reddick was
Oh,
awesome.
it's cool that he's in that.
That guy had such a great voice for animation. Every time, that's just great voice for anything. Like everything he was in was
And
terrifying.
that's going to make one of these announcements you're going to say kind of concerned.
Yep. So, well, I don't know if he's going to be in this one, but they also announced well, before we move on to that part, there's also a Borderlands is also going to interactive show titled Borderlands Echo Vision Live being made by Genvid Entertainment. No word on release or exactly what the hell this even is. So I don't know what kind of interactive show this is going to be. But after that, the other announcement I saw, there's a 3-part John Wick prequel series called The Continental. It's coming out on Peacock September 22nd, second episode on September 29th, and the final episode on October 6th. This stars Colin Woodle as a younger Winston Scott in the 1970s as he fights his way through the city and I guess establishes the Continental previous to the original John Wick films. So, yeah, I don't know who they're going to find to play.
Yeah, because it sounds like they just changed the whole entire plot. Because originally, even Keanu Reeves was going to appear now and then in the Continental series that they were making.
Mm-hmm.
But then the literal front desk guy, Lance Heddick, passed. So I was like, wait, is he still in it? Is he being replaced? And it sounds like they just rewrote the whole thing, so they don't have to have anybody in it except for new people.
Oh, they'll just make him AI. I say that terribly ironically. I hope they don't ever do that, like they did for the Flash and all those other people.
So with all these show news and movie news, I have some news for you to incite fear and anger in your bodies. So as we may or may not know, Barbie has approached and is now exceeding $700 million in the box office, and for the most part, people have been enjoying it. It's basically, from what I'm hearing, it's kind of like the Brady Bunch movie. It doesn't take itself seriously. It makes fun of Barbie ideals while creating an important message.
Right.
But that's for another.
Before you finish this, what you're about to say is basically proving my point of why they could just replace the CEOs and people with AI and the decisions would be just as dispassionate and make just as little sense. But continue, because I know where this is going.
I don't think you're ready for all this. So Mattel execs have revealed that they want to essentially create a cinematic universe following the success of Barbie with 14 properties already in active development, including, let's go down the list. We have Barney, we have Polly Pocket, Hot Wheels, Magic 8 Ball, Uno, Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and they just signed Vin Diesel to it, Christmas Balloon, Thomas and Friends, American Girl, oh, it gets better, Viewmaster, Matchbox, Wishbone, Major Matt Mason and Masters of the Universe.
Okay, Master of the Universe, I'm okay with.
In the same universe as Barbie?
Honestly, as
Why not?
long as they take the property and flip it on its head to provide a good message, I'm okay with all of this.
I know they said the Magic 8 Ball is supposed to be like a PG-13 like haunting or murder type thing movie where it's
Yeah,
like the
because
8 Ball is killing people or whatever.
like what they did with Ouija board, not Luigi, Ouija board.
It's a Ouija board.
Ouija board, that was a good idea, but a bad idea was Battleship.
Battleship was fun to watch, at least. I will give it that. The story made no sense, but I'm like, all right, your action's kind of
And we're still
interesting.
supposed to be getting a Monopoly movie and a Hungry Hippo CGI.
Oh, that's just HBO Max is trying to go for the monopoly. They're just trying to buy up everyone they can to throw into each other.
You mean
We're
Matt?
living the Monopoly movie. Oh, crap. And I don't even get to be the shoe. Yeah, that's like I said, because I read some more about that where people are like, you guys completely missed the point of why people liked Barbie, why all this stuff was going on, and just decided, hey, that made money. Let's just run with it. And like,
Well, this is just
the
an
hell?
announcement, keep in mind. Much like
some of
the,
these are already in production. Like Barney is supposed to
How
be
are you
like a
gonna do-
trippy indie
How are
film.
you gonna
That's
do Uno? How are you gonna do Uno?
hey, they made a Saturn game out of it, and it was a cool anime shonen game.
what?
Oh, you guys didn't know about that
Oh,
one.
I knew about
No.
that, but
Chris,
so,
no, Chris, explain.
Okay, I don't
I have to
actually. I think
know.
it's either it might be PlayStation or Dreamcast. But it is basically imagine Beyblade or something like that, like a high school anime,
Right?
but with Uno as the main draw. So you've got your,
The main draw
spunky
4.
anime protagonist and wacky band of characters and evil villains and stuff, and you're playing Uno for the fate of stuff.
Oh my god.
It's a thing. Look up Uno anime intro.
We had a
and you'll
Pepsi Man
find
game. Nothing surprises me, but I'm just like, how did I not know about this?
this is your Uno chance to see the movie in theaters.
God, how many people are going to take reverse cards and be like, can we please get our money back?
Oh my god.
You know it'll happen.
But yeah, I mean, just because they say they'll do it, and yes, they'll work on these movies, but the Universal Dark Universe never, got out of the dark.
Oh man, that failed with Tom Cruise, which was really funny.
So yes, just because they say it'll happen doesn't mean it will succeed.
True. Whatever happens, they will make sure not to pay people a living wage to do it. Just saying. So, all right. Well, going from San Diego Comic-Con and talking about one monopoly to another, Tencent, that lovely beast of a company that's been buying up stuff. They're taking majority control over Techland, which Techland is the Polish company, a developer that makes the Dying Light series. So we don't know the exact percentage of what they're buying up because they tend to buy chunks of different companies. Like they have a pretty good sized stake in Ubisoft. They actually bought a stake in Nintendo. But this one is notable because it will be a majority control. So they're buying at least, 51% or whatever the actual amount for that would be for these. So that's just another company kind of falling under Tencent of how that's going to go. These are the companies I think people should be more concerned about than the whole thing with the Activision Blizzard merger with Call of Duty. Drink. Yeah, you have an actual drink. There you go. I'll say it again. Call of Duty. Which we actually have a little bit of extra Call of Duty announcement after this too. Keep that drink ready.
Oh, geez.
So I think Tencent's one of the ones we kind of need to keep an eye on because they are more, I think they're more likely to kind of push some of their functions on the different companies, but we'll have to see how that goes. which kind of sucks because Dying Light I thought was a really fun game. It was actually really good to play. Did you guys ever mess with that one?
I completely destroyed the original first one, and got lost in the following, the extra stuff. So I still have to get through that. I didn't get this. Do I? No, I own the second one, and I bought the first one for Switch because it was only $10.
Oh, forgot it came out on that. Chris, do you ever mess around with that one?
I have not, but I've heard good things.
All right. So do you guys have any thoughts about Tencent taking control of the company now? Like it's another one they're kind of eating up into there.
It's kind of, for me, it's like the Microsoft situation, like you said.
Mm-hmm.
If it's giving them more to work with and not imposing any kind of agenda or control, and they just want to reap the benefits, then let's go. Because until I see any, I want to say, any makings of any deals where it seems that they're doing that, then the whole thing will go sour in both the game development and in the fans' eyes. But for right now, I'm in the boat that maybe this will help them, create something more that they wanted to do because they'll have the resources.
Okay. Chris, any thoughts on it?
Monopolies at this point are unavoidable. But I think the industry in general is gearing up for change because, there's always going to be a new medium, a new fad, a new interest, and, new and aspiring entertainers will prop up from that kind of thing. So I think it's just a matter of time.
Okay. All right. Well, we'll move on to our next little bit here then. So, you guys ever play around with Final Fantasy XIV?
I played 11 once.
I played 11 on PS2.
All my friends want me to join their servers, but I am not an MMO guy. I'm waiting for Final Fantasy XIV to be a single-player game. And
actually,
offline.
I'm about to say, you have to be online for it, but you can actually play a lot of it by yourself, apparently. But Final Fantasy XIV is finally, after all of these years, coming to Xbox. It's been PC and PlayStation only for years now. It's coming to Xbox Series X and S in spring of next year, 2024. While the game is almost a year away from release, there will be an open beta to try when the update 6.5X arrives in a few months. So I'm probably going to have to try this because my kids have been pushing me to try it like drug dealers.
They did also tout that this will have faster loading and 4K support.
Yeah, it's supposed to be parity to the PlayStation 5 release, which is what Jeremy plays now. I watch him play that on occasion on the living room because he bought a PS5 for it. But I like the fact at least I can just plug in a keyboard, use my controller because it is very well designed for that, and just chill out on my couch and play it. And if I can play with my kids and do that, sure. And I think it's like Stormblood, I think, is the more recent stuff, but like you can play for free all the way up through that now.
And an open beta is scheduled before it's released, so.
Right. So I'm going to give that a shot too. I'm pretty sure Jeremy pays the monthly fee because I think him and John play it and they do the higher end stuff. I probably won't pay for it right now. I'll mess around with it and try that stuff out for the free part of it. Excuse me. But we'll see how that goes. Because I used to play MMOs for like World of Warcraft and stuff like that all the time. And seriously, if Microsoft is buying Activision Blizzard, I would love to see a World of Warcraft version for Xbox.
I mean, you didn't play Star Trek Online?
I did. I had the collector's edition with the badge.
There we go.
I still play it on occasion. You can play that on Xbox as well. So it's kind of funny that it's taken this long for Final Fantasy XIV to release, and everyone's like, are we going to have to wait a 10-year gap before we get Final Fantasy 16 on the Xbox? Like,
all the companies now are like, don't buy us next. Here, you can have the game you wanted.
So a little embarrassing moment for me. I saw the I saw the announcement for Final Fantasy XIV, and I read the Roman numerals wrong, and I was like, "Wow, Final Fantasy 16 on Xbox already? Man, that was quick."
That'd be great and very confusing. Oh man. I think yeah. I knew it was 14, but I could definitely see somebody misreading that. Oh man. So Chris, I guess you've already kind of answered because you don't play MMOs that much, but Steven, is this one you're gonna kind of give a shot?
No. um,
Okay,
what,
it's just me. So
because for me, it's taking away too much time from everything else I want to play to get into this type of game.
but in my defense, it could potentially be adding more time I play games with my kids.
Well, that's something too.
And
Everybody's
also
got
taking
different
life
reasons.
away from me
Yeah,
that I can't get back.
If you have people to play with, that's fine. My wife and I, we did the Old Republic when it first came out, before it got all weird and such.
I played
And
that one too.
And we enjoyed it a lot until they were like, "Hey, it's changing. It's going free to play. Now it's run by a different company."
Mm-hmm.
I was like, "Okay, never mind that." I played City of Heroes back then.
Played that one too.
I was I'll admit to everybody here and now, I was a troll. If you dared make a copyrighted character, I did report you. So I was that guy.
Oh, Steven, scandalous, sir.
And it was funny
Scandalous.
too because I was walking around as Gordon Freeman
Oh my
and
god.
nobody reported me. but yeah, I did that. I come from the EverQuest days, so I did a lot of that.
Didn't play EverQuest.
But there wasn't a lot of choices back then. In my defense, at my age then, so I had to go with just those games. Now there's so much to play.
Uh-huh.
And MMO, it's just like, no, it's mainly I would only play that if I want to save money, because then $15 a month versus buying a new game every month is a lot better.
Yeah, that's why I kind of like the fact you can play part of it for free. But let me ask you guys this. What was your first MMO? Like, do you guys remember which one it was?
It was EverQuest for me.
Chris, what about you?
Because if you picked up the phone, I got disconnected from EverQuest.
Honestly, I've never really played an MMO past the trial period.
Okay. What was your first one trying it then?
Probably World of Warcraft, and
that makes sense.
You know, it looked interesting, and I also tried Dungeon Fighter Online for a bit, a little bit of even Final Fantasy XIV. The thing is, I don't like games that I cannot pause, and I don't like games that I cannot get up from if I need a snack, if I need to use the bathroom, or if anything else happens. I tend to multitask when I game.
Safe zones. It's just you get kicked if you're AFK for too long.
That's the thing. Like, I will chat. I will get inspired and do something else. I'll get up and get a snack. I don't want to be the person that everyone's like, all right, hold the line. I get up, I grab a pizza, I come back, everybody's dead. It's like, you were supposed to heal us, you bastard. I'm like, at least I have chicken.
Wait, why would you go get... Oh, wait, so you went to get pizza, but you came back with chicken?
No, that was chicken a Leroy Jenkins joke.
But why would you leave to get pizza if you were about to hold the line?
Because he's hungry.
Yeah, I have my priorities.
He's a human being. He wants to live.
Exactly. Jeremy understands.
You're not
heal thyself first before you heal others.
Screw your level 60 avatars. I'm hungry now.
So the first MMO I ever got to play was Phantasy Star Online on the Dreamcast. I picked that up, played it on Sega Net. I got the keyboard and everything for it as well, which I still have, which is why I can still enjoy Typing of the Dead. That was the first experience I ever had with that because I didn't have a computer growing up. So I couldn't play a lot of those. And of course, there were no real MMOs that came out on consoles because that wasn't until PS2 that another one really showed up with Final Fantasy XI, which I played that for a little bit because my brother, I bought Final Fantasy XI on PC. I'm sorry, I didn't buy it. he bought it on PS2, but didn't have a PS2. So my dad made me take the PS2 version and buy him the PC one, which is how I ended up with a hard drive in my PS2 that's still there to this day. Still works. So that's kind of a fun fact.
My wife's put in an astounding amount of hours into the Dreamcast Fantasy Star Online, and whenever she tells me what levels they were at and everything, I tell other people, no matter how many hours you've put in other games, they probably don't amount to the amount of hours she put in that. It's awesome.
I really enjoyed it for the time. Like, it was a whole new thing for me, like, you know, being able to do all that. So we'll finally get Final Fantasy 14. I'm going to have to try it anyways because my kids are going to want me to play it with them, or at least try it. I want to see how it runs on those, specifically how it runs on an Xbox Series S. Because with the Series S, I could just chill out in my room, use the wireless keyboard, and just play it on there as well. And if that's playable, that could be kind of a fun little just chill out and goof off with the kids in there instead of having to be in the game room. So who knows? I know it'll never reach World of Warcraft levels because I think the biggest draw for me for MMOs was I would play with particular friends or family. So like World of Warcraft, Amanda played it. So of course I'd play with her on occasion. And then my brother played it while he was stationed in California. So that was actually how we talked. We never really called each other. We would just talk on World of Warcraft. So by the time he got back and we quit playing, that kind of killed it, you know? So, all right. So let's move on to our final segment of the show, the big question, which this is a little bit lighter episode. So we're just going to kind of have a little bit of fun with this as a shorter question, but just outright asking, what did you first collect? When you were kids or whenever you actually started doing a collection, what were the first thing you really started to collect? Stephen, as the other fellow collector I know of, that every time I look behind you just goes, that's a lot. What was your first collection or first items you collected? Or I guess first series, not particularly items, but
well, items is easier because before the games that shaped me came out, it was basically collecting the Legos, because a lot of my start in a lot of these different mediums have come from my brothers. They both liked playing with the Legos, and when they moved on to the next thing, I got the Legos, and I didn't have anything else at the time, so I would ask for like pirate ship or some more of the cars, the towns, so I could start building those and create my own like city down in the basement at the time, because the basement I had in my childhood home had the concrete floors in the basement with like rug put in certain areas. So because there was so much concrete, I was just like, oh, I can just put the Legos down and they'll stay fine. They're not on weird plush carpet or anything. But as my mom will attest to, when I was 2, I would watch my brother and his friend play and program games on the Commodore 64 when I was 2.
wow.
And I would stay up late, and this is probably explains why I stay up late now. I would just stay up late and watch. And then when they again moved on, I got the Commodore 64, and for some reason, because it was so hard to find more games to buy, they already had a big library of games for me to play. So I just had like 300 Commodore 64 games to play. And because of that, when the systems finally came out, I said, well, I want what they had, and they gave me. I want to just collect all these games. I want the ability to go back to any game I might love. So that's when I started collecting NES games, and back then it was just, if I rented it and I liked it, then I put it on my list and got it. So that's what I like to collect, because unfortunately all my toy loves except for Lego have come and gone. Like muscle figures and Smurf figurines, those all came and went. but the only thing that kind of stayed up till now is, video games. And it wasn't just Nintendo. If I got my hands eventually on the Genesis and then the Sega CD, then I started having to collect those too. So it got more expensive. So I had very good reason to get a job when I was young.
Okay. Chris, what about you? What did you first collect?
Well, growing up, I didn't really have much in the way of a toy collection. My grandmother, instead of buying things for birthdays or Christmas, would take me along with her to garage sales, and I would
Yes.
find and this is a sign of the times. I would find things like a box filled with an Atari 5200 and 25 to 50 dusty old cartridges. Things like, the Telstar Arcade, which was a combination steering wheel, gun, and Pong set with one weird triangular controller.
I
But
remember that.
and trust me, the things that my grandmother threw away or I got rid of would
Oh,
probably make you both want to go back in time and shoot me. But the point being, I didn't really have a chance to collect anything because whatever I got. And it was
right.
always very random. But one day I acquired a binder of these Marvel X-Men trading cards. And
Oh, I wonder what
by
year.
chance, there were, just enough that if I bought this binder, I could go to a comic book store and hopefully fill it out. And that's what I would try to do.
Oh, that's
So that's the
great.
first thing I ended up feeling, okay, I have enough of these. I could probably get the whole set.
Would this by chance be during the early 90s?
Yes, around
Ooh, I
that
have
time.
that. I have that X-Men set.
Nice.
I love it because it had like the blue or brighter like 90s pop color backgrounds.
Yes, exactly. And they had
Yes.
the power levels and the bios of every character. And the thing
Oh,
is,
it's such a good set.
for me as an artist, my two passions are character design and background, like character background. I love coming up with stories behind characters and
Uh-huh.
why they look and act the way they do. And I think collecting those Marvel trading cards was just this delicious book of lore and inspiration that got me into that kind of thing.
I just thought of something I would actually like to do, and if you would join in on this one, kind of like how I was doing the stream with Steven, I can actually set up my camera can go down and I can set it up for flat. I can actually get my card sets out and set it up where we just go through the card sets and just talk about the art. I'm not even kidding, because you can't really see behind me, but like that whole shelf right there to my left currently, or whatever you see me as, is nothing but comic book cards.
Awesome.
Entire sets, random ones from like comic books, video games, stuff like that. Um, but that was not my first collection. And I had to think about this one because I was like, I thought it would be Transformers. Sorry, hold on a second. Flemme. I was thinking it'd be Transformers because I remember my very first ones of those I got was like Smokescreen and Mirage, of the original 1980s toys. And I was like, no, I think I had some other stuff I would collect before then. And I was like, oh, yes, I remember now what I would collect. And I sadly don't have many of them left anymore. And that would be He-Man.
Ah.
I had so many He-Man figures because it was something that was so popular in the early 80s during that time that I would be able to pick one up at a reasonable amount, or people, my family would get me a couple of them, and I didn't have many. I'm not saying I had like tons of these things, like just a handful of them was good for me, but I had a couple of the vehicles. Like I absolutely loved it. He-Man was the very first movie in a theater I remember seeing that I specifically wanted to go and see Masters of the Universe. And to hell with it, I liked it. I was a kid. It was also the same day I got my first BMX bike. So it was just a damn good day for that kid.
Nice.
So I had He-Man toys, a movie, and a BMX bike. I was the 80s kid right there.
Hey, that works fine.
So yeah, my He-Man figures, I think, were some of my earliest ones, which of course, I had He-Man, I had Skeletor, I had
Manny Faces?
I was about to say Manny Faces, holy crap.
I had Manny Faces and I had
Ram Man.
Castle Grayskull too.
See, I never got the play sets, not the early ones. I did get there was the Slime Cave one. They had the puppet, like the rubber glove puppet.
Yeah, I remember seeing that.
I got that, and then I had the slime trap that was like this L-shaped platform, and if you put the character into it, this bone claw hand would like come up and grab you, and the dinosaur looking mouth at the top could open and the ooze could pour out on him. That was also part of how I learned Moss Man should never get wet. He smells rank when he gets wet. I learned that the hard way because I used to also play with these in the tub. Yeah, that's how I lost Moss Man.
Well, that and like the slime that you usually got with these toys.
Oh, it would dry and get crusty.
You should not play with the slime on the toys because that stuff will stick.
Yeah, I know.
I ruined an Ecto 1 because of that.
No. See, I had Ghostbuster stuff, but that was all later on. Like He-Man was the earliest one that I can remember specifically. Like, oh, I want to get these. I want to collect them. I didn't know the term at the time, but I knew I wanted to get these and enjoy them and play with them.
Yeah, I was very basic. I had He-Man, Skeletor, Many Faces. And that's it. Oh wait, and
Trapjaw. I had Trapjaw.
Why can't I remember its name?
Oh, describe him to me.
No, I have to get it myself.
I have a literal encyclopedic book on He-Man toys. Come on, man.
It's a matter of pride.
Yeah, but it's also pride for me.
What was the Panther's name?
Oh,
the what?
The Panther?
Battle Cat, you mean?
No. There was Skeletor had a panther.
Because I had Battle Cat. I forget what his real name was when he's
Cringer.
Cringer. So I had Cringer, but I also had the Panther because it had a satin feel. It felt really soft.
I had that. I still have what's left of it,
and I don't know what the name is, and it's escaped me.
I don't know. I always just called it Skeletor's cat.
But that's what Skeletor had, and I was like, this is so cool. And they got me the Castle Grayskull only because they knew that I could open it up, put all the figures in, and close it. So
okay,
it's the easiest way to clean up my toys.
Shamed. Do you know what it is? Panther.
Panther. Back when they're like, what should we call this thing with a lot of faces? How about Manny Faces? Okay.
We're just Manny for sure.
That guy's got springs for legs and he rams things. Ram Man.
There you go.
Fisto, we went too far. That's an actual character, ladies and gentlemen, with a big old fist. I got a bunch of these later on, especially Chris, just like you. My grandmother used to take me around Virginia Beach every Saturday because I would stay with them on the summer, and we would get up super early and start going around to different garage sales. And I had a pretty good allowance back then as a kid, when I was staying with my grandparents, or they would just let me get stuff and pay off early or whatever. And that's where I got the firehouse from Ghostbusters, or I'd find like huge things of Transformers, and that's where I got like a bunch of the He-Man figures as well, like beyond even the ones I originally had. And I wish I had most of that. My grandmother, ironically, was the one that threw most of them away. Didn't even ask me, just tossed them. Ugh. And it was a complete firehouse with the containment unit. It had the pole with the stand on it would slide. It even still had the front sign, which was one of the easiest things to lose. I
had the Peter Venkman figure where his mouth opened and his eyes bugged out, and I had the Egon Spengler where the hair came off.
Yep.
I had all 4 of those.
I loved those. I have the 4 original figures with their like the brown and blue and gray colored suits. And I still have the 4 figures that do the scary faces, including Janine's.
Oh, I didn't know Janine had one.
So Janine was the fifth one. Because her glasses would pop out with her eyes, and she'd put her hands up, and her hair would stand up. Ghostbusters had some of the weirdest action figures. I love how we're getting into toy discussions now, and I'm here for this. But like some of the ghosts they had, like there was the football player who would bend over, just put his ass out, and his whole back would open into a giant creature mouth. So
they had a whole line because I watched one of the YouTubers.
I had the mailman. I had the old
these things, and he had the whole line of citizens. He's like, I got the whole set.
Yeah, I remember I had the beetle that became a mantis, and I was like, you guys really lost the note on that. Why couldn't it become a beetle? It looked just like a Volkswagen Beetle. I guess maybe they were trying to get around the license.
Maybe.
We'll make it a mantis. They can't ever argue with that.
The Volkswagen Mantis.
What were those anthropomorphic little figures that had elementals on their chest?
So, fun fact, those are originally from Transformers. Those in Japan, it's part of the story of Transformers, but here they got separated from it when they released them, and those were Battle Beasts. Were the ones that had the little elemental ones, because I think I still have a couple of them.
I peeled the sticker off the middle, but
you're killing me.
As a kid, I peeled off the sticker, so I couldn't remember if they were fire or water anymore.
There's fire, water, wood, and stone.
But I remember the commercial because the one like bear or whatever would like activate it and then uproot a tree and swing it, and I'm like, what?
Yeah, but if you look those up, those are originally from the Transformers. They were actually sold as part of Transformers.
Yeah, they were Battle Beasts. Yep. Okay.
Oh, I know this. It's Transformers related. I find it funny. I used to have those and didn't even know they were Transformers until I was older, which was great.
I still have my muscle figures because I don't know what else to do with them.
I still have some of them. Now, I did have most of the collection. I wish I still had these of Monster in My Pocket. The little rubber figures of those, because at the time, Virginia Beach, you could get some with Slurpees. So you'd go buy a Slurpee and could get a couple of them. And I would talk my grandparents into like, let's go get a Slurpee. And I'd buy a couple of them. All right. We're getting way off tangent here. I would love to have just an entire chat of just us talking about old toys. Like, I think that would be entertaining. That'd be a fun live stream. And just so you guys all know, you can find these live streams when we start doing them more over at twitch.tv/Zenspath, ZNSPATH. So, hey, look, we're going to try and get that in there. I'm also looking at trying to get some advertisements on other podcasts for our show. It's going to cost me some money, but we'll see. If you're a fan of Star Trek and you're familiar with the Greatest Generation, or the Greatest Trek, I'm going to be trying to get some ads over there with the other FODs, or Friends of DeSoto, as they're also known. So we'll see how that goes. We advertised with them before with the previous group, and so I'm going to do it again, but now let them know that we changed it. And I'm actually thinking about jokingly calling the show the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast A.
Oh, boy.
You get it. I think that would be funny. For a Star Trek group, I think that joke would go over well. We're basically a refit. We're not going to be the B, because we're not going to have to wait for the tractor beam until Tuesday. No one laughed because only I got that joke. All right, so let's go ahead and let everybody know where we can be found on the internet now that I have had that weird moment there. Steven, let's start with you. Where can we find you online?
You can find me on X.
I refuse to put that on the video. It's going to say Twitter.
With @loading_time, as I'm excited for all the upcoming news, as I excavate all the exciting news and images and game announcements from all these other accounts on X.
About to be an X podcast.
He's saying Twitter quite a lot. I don't understand it. Even
I just keep hearing it.
Doesn't even make sense.
I am on Discord at just .Nintendo, because that's what they had. And I'm working on building stuff for Blue Sky right now.
Awesome. All right. And Chris, we know how this answer is going to go. Where can we find you on the internet?
That's pretty much it.
Well, you said you do streams. At some point, you should plug those.
One of these days.
One of these days,
we
when
will-
you're comfortable, when you're ready. Like a baby bird in the nest would wait until you're ready to fly, or you're found dead on the ground. I don't
He's
know.
like Dr. Claw. We won't know what he looks like until his toy line comes out.
Oh,
There you
forgot about
go.
that. Yes. I actually I skipped on getting a chance as a kid to buy a really detailed toy of Inspector Gadget. Like it was metal framed, like for the body, so you could pose it. It had all the little parts that come out. I've never even found it again. I did end up coming home with a Job of the Hutt, though, so whatever. But you can find me on Twitter, because I refuse to call it anything else, at Zenspath. You can also find me on twitch.tv/Zenspath, as we mentioned before, with some of the streams. I'm going to try and start getting back into playing some games on occasion. Not trying to do it on a consistent basis, just when I feel like it, because I'm not too worried about followers. I just want to have some fun. I am Zenspath.com over on Blue Sky, and just also at Zenspath over on Thread, or Zenspath COM on Threads, because it's from my Instagram, which is also Zenspath COM. All right, well, this has been episode 95 of the Zenspath 4-Button Podcast. I've been your host, and we are out. Peace. You're not going to do the thing, Chris?
I was waiting for you to do this.
Take us away, Dr. Claw.
Yeah.
Oh boy. I can't do it on cue.
Aw.